Hey, good morning, all. Thank you for joining. We'll start the session in couple of minutes. Hey, good morning, all. Thank you for joining. Welcome to Meetup session hosted by Cloud.in. I'm Suvarna Jadhav, working with Cloud.in as a strategic partnership and alliance manager. For today's session, we have Mr. Sriram Balasubramaniam as a speaker who will guide us on cloud financial management in AWS. Sriram is working as an enterprise cloud architect. With 22 plus years of experience, Sriram is AWS certified solution architect professional and FinOps certified practitioner, helping customers in their cloud journey. His key focus areas involve designing cloud solutions as per well-architected framework and help customers maximize their business value while optimizing cloud cost. Additionally, I would like to introduce Ms. Yogita Gune, Business Manager Strategic Initiatives at Cloud.in. She will give a quick overview of Cloud.in. After that, Sriram sir will start the session. We'll keep 10-15 minutes for question and answer. Please feel free to post your questions in Q&A sections. Sir will address all the questions at the end of the session. I will request Yogita to start her presentation.
Sure. Thank you so much, Suvarna. You are able to hear me?
Yes, I'm able to hear you.
Thank you. So a very good morning to all of you. Thanks a lot for taking out time to attend this session. I'll just take you through a journey as to what Cloud.in does as a company, and then hand it over to Sriram to take it ahead. So it's just a sneak preview into what we do. As you can see, Cloud.in has been into this business for the past 23 years. We are a 23-year young company. We are a leading managed service provider. We have a 24/7 NOC service center, which helps us to ensure that we give the required services to our customers. We have been able to serve around 22,000 plus customers during this 23-year journey, which included small, medium, and enterprise customers. We have around 40,000 plus domains that we have managed, and we are one of the leading domain registrars in the country today. With respect to the team, we have around 50 plus team today. We have 50 plus cloud certified certifications that we can boast of, which really help us to ensure that we have the required expertise to help our customers with the kind of solutions that they look for. We have around 10,000 plus resources that we manage, around 200 plus live workloads today, and 6,000 plus endpoints that we protect as far as cloud backup is concerned. We are partnered with AWS. We are an advanced consulting partner. We also help our customers with billing services around Google Cloud and Microsoft Azure. In terms of cloud backup, we have a strategic tie-up with Dhruva. New Relic is one of the partners with whom we help our customers when it comes to monitoring services. VMware, F5, Fortinet, a few of other partners that we have, which really helps us to ensure that we give a holistic service network to our customers. In terms of the solutions that we provide, we are into cloud consulting and advisory services, reselling and billing services, as I just mentioned. We also help our customers when it comes to implementation and migration. With respect to the application services, also we help our customers in case they're looking for any kind of application modernization. We also have a robust managed services team wherein we help to ensure that the workloads that are there on cloud for customers are taken care of. Then we also provide resource augmentation services for customers wherein if they are looking for a dedicated resource at their end, we do help with those kind of services as well. With respect to the competencies that we have around AWS, we are a WAF delivery partner wherein we help our customers solutions around WAF. We are also one of the partners having competencies around RDS, around CloudFront. This is what we are looking at today because security is one of the major concerns for all our customers. And we see a lot of our customers coming to us with these kind of services. With respect to the experience that we have or the verticals that we have served, media, entertainment, D&B, startups are few of the verticals that we see having a lot of traction when it comes to use cases around CDN and edge security, media convert. These are the areas where we have the expertise, we have the required capabilities, and we have been able to help our customers with the solutions around it. So this was a sneak preview as to what we at Cloud.in do. I just hand over to Sriram to take it ahead. Thank you so much. Just a moment.
Yeah, hi. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sriram. Um Suvarna, I hope I'm audible and you can see my screen.
Yes. Yes, you are audible and your screen is visible.
Yeah. So yeah, hi. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sriram. So today I will talk about the cloud financial management in AWS, very specifically around the overall FinOps practice. So before we delve deep into uh, what we should be doing or how we will implement the cloud financial management in AWS, I just want to give you a brief background about the overall FinOps. So FinOps framework is a foundation that is there, and they define certain principles of and domain capabilities. So we'll just briefly talk about that, and then from there we'll go in talking about how we'll do it leveraging multiple AWS services. So FinOps is a cloud financial management practice that helps organization manage their cloud cost while maximizing their overall business value. It's predominantly based on six core principles, wherein different needs, whether it is finance, technology, operations, all need to work together to continuously improve the practices to gain efficiency. Everybody needs to take control of their cloud usage. So we basically need to empower the individual product teams or the application teams to get visibility on their respective cloud spend. We also need to have a centralized FinOps team so that they can go about centrally governing the rate optimization as well as drive optimizations across the entire organizations. And the FinOps reports needs to be made readily available. So one needs to process the cost data that is getting generated out from the various cloud providers immediately and then provide visibility on the cloud spend so that you can take immediate actions. There's no point in having the cost data, but it is getting probably refreshed a week or only once in a week, and then you're taking actions which are too late. Also, the fact that we need to ensure that conscious trade-off decision needs to be made across cost, quality, and speed, and we need to compare the overall cloud spend versus the business value that we are driving. So every cloud decision that we are making, what is the business benefit that we are getting out? That should be our primary goal. And finally, we need to take advantage of the fact that the cloud resources can be spent very readily. And so we need to try avoiding over provisioning or under provisioning of your cloud resources in advance, and rather the focus on just having just in time type of a model. So with these key core design principle, there are multiple FinOps capabilities that are there across your six core domains in FinOps, which we implement across your three core phases of inform, optimize, and operate. So the inform phase is all about basically providing visibility on the cloud spend, and you performance benchmark your individual teams, how they are performing or how well they are aligned to their the cloud spend. The optimize phase is broadly about identifying opportunities around your cost optimization, which is basically broadly divided into two categories. One is your rate optimization, which we also called as cost savings, which is all about your pricing discounts, reservations, and other stuff. And then you have your usage optimization, which is also known as cost avoidance, which is about cleaning up your underutilized resources or ensuring right sizing of your resources. We'll talk about these in the next few slides. And finally, we move into the operate phase. While the optimize phase is all about identifying the opportunities to do cost optimization, the operate phase is performing the actual actions. And how do you do the actions? You get real-time and insights, and then take actions around uh, those insights. Those things like how do I automate the purchasing of reservations, or how do I send out the reports to the various stakeholders. So this is broadly what FinOps is all about. It's a upcoming practice, and almost every enterprise uh, or customers, right? They are uh, leveraging FinOps and then implementing these principles, capabilities within their respective cloud provider. So very specifically focusing on AWS, the way we can go about doing that is to have 5 core pillars to focus on. And each of these core pillars will have multiple features. We will deep dive into each of this in the upcoming slide, but I will briefly talk about what we want to achieve as part of these 5 pillars. The first one is the foundation, wherein we are establishing an organizational hierarchy with granular tagging structure, and basically provide your normalized cloud spend from a central data lake. So the idea here is to uh, uh, give complete details about the cloud spend and help your individual teams have an ownership on the cloud spend, or take actions around that. The next one is around governance and compliance, wherein we are establishing proactive guardrails so that we can control the usage of services. And then we also audit each of our FinOps actions. Uh, as I said earlier, we provide real-time insights on the cloud spend, whether it's in the form of a forecasted budget, uh, managing our anomaly spends, measuring the KPIs, how individual product teams or individual applications are performing. And finally, the two main things are from a cost optimization standpoint of view, wherein we are talking about cost savings, which basically is basically establishing a comprehensive framework for enabling reservation-based discounts, and then cost avoidance, wherein we are managing the workload to ensure resources run only when they are required. So with these core 5 pillars, right, there are multiple features that needs to be implemented when we want to actually uh, uh, do a overall, I wouldn't say control of the the cloud cost, but more about managing the overall cloud spend so that we can maximize the business benefits that we are deriving from it. So the first step is to set up your organization account structure, right? Typically, the way this entire organizations do is that we have an organization, and within that particular organization, right, we can have multiple business divisions, like business divisions like your wealth management, your institutional securities, your private wealth banking, or prime brokerage, etc. And each of these individual uh, uh, business divisions will have, let's say, individual business functions. So let's say within wealth management, you will have capital markets, or you'll have banking, or your transactions, and so on and so forth. And within each of these business functions, you have your actual applications, right? Your trading application, or your actual banking, which is doing the transfer, or your payments, all these type of applications, which run across your multiple accounts, right? Whether it is your dev environment, or your prod environment, or your QA environment, and so on and so forth. So once this is established, it is once we have this particular structure in mind, right? How do we go about defining this entire account structure on AWS? We leverage something called AWS Control Tower, okay, which helps in provisioning a blueprint, setting up this entire account structure through AWS organization. So you have at the top the AWS organization, then you have multiple organization units, and then we have individual accounts for that. So once this is done, what we are trying to achieve is that we are trying to simplify the way we are actually doing the payments, right? So we can have the master account do the payment, but at the same point of time, we are also able to identify how individual application, individual resources, or the individual applications, right? What cost they are yielding, and how we can attribute the cloud spend to the individual business units. So that is one core important thing that we want to do. How do we do the charge back to the individual business unit, so that we can now measure whether the business or the revenue that is getting generated from that particular business, is it getting the appropriate ROI to the cloud spend that we are doing. So that is a very important aspect that FinOps recommends, as well as this is how we go about implementing it. And another important one is things like your sharing of your reservations, right? We'll talk about what reserved instances and all, but how do we share our reservations? How do I maximize that sharing of the reservations across your multiple accounts, right? With this type of a account structure, we can leverage that. Sorry. Yeah, uh, right. So that is the first one of setting up an account structure. The next one is to ensure that I am able to ingest the data, right? The entire the cost data, the performance metrics or the utilization metrics, all these data into a central location. Why it is important? Again, it is important so that once I have all this data into a central location, I now go about doing some transformation on this entire data and then generate out my normalized cloud spend, because the cost and usage report that comes out is very granular by the hour for a particular resource, and it has so many attributes which might not which will be too much to for a stakeholder to consume. So how do I transform that entire particular data? So typically what we do is that these cost usage reports and the cloud watch logs, which gives us the best performance metrics, all these data is pushed into an S3 data lake, and then we have the AWS Lambda functions which does the transformation and then normalize that cloud spend and then give it to something like an Athena or a Redshift. So from a foundation standpoint, these are the two key things that we do. The next step is to establish governance and compliance. So as part of that, there are two things that we want to do. One is we basically set up uh, the service control policies to control the usage. So we spoke about the organization, and within the organization at various organization unit level, you can set up these control policies telling which, let's say, type of a resource can be launched, right? Which region you can leverage, which type of a size of that particular resource that can be launched. So this way, by having these service control policies, you are basically restricting your unwanted cloud spend, because if you have everything open, your developers can go and launch a very highly expensive EC2 instance, and that might result in cost. That is one thing. The second important thing is that how do I ensure that all these data that is getting generated or the reports that are getting generated, how do I have a role-based access to control access to it? So typically we leverage these IAM roles to enable that. And also the another important thing that we need to do is to keep creating an audit trail of all my FinOps actions, right? FinOps activities that I'm performing, right? Whether who is accessing, who is purchasing the reservation, who is shutting down an EC2 instance. All this entire set of activities needs to be audit trail, and we can use services like CloudWatch and CloudTrail to enable that. So that is from the more from the usage control standpoint of view. We also control the spend aspect of it by setting up individual budgets, right, at individual accounts. So this way, what we can do is that given a specific account, you can specify specific budget amount for that, and then you can define your thresholds in case those your threshold limits are approaching that particular budgets. So again, from you have an AWS budget service which you can leverage, and then you can have the CloudWatch alarms to actually notify you through your SNS service, whether through a mail or through to your text message, and so on and so forth. So the governance and compliance is about controlling your service usage as well as controlling your the cost aspect of it. Okay, so the third one is around establishing real-time insights. So as part of this, there are a few things. We spoke about budgets, right? We are setting up budgets, but one important thing that we need to do is that we need to take decision based on the data that is getting generated, not through our gut feeling that, okay, this is the budget I should have. So you have things like forecasts, which basically analyzes your historical information, and then based on that, right, it recommends a specific budget. So initially when you start, maybe you don't have that, but you set up the forecast, and as your cloud journey progresses and your workload is running for a duration of time, you can now start forecasting based on you can forecast for your month or for a set of quarters, right? To understand what should be your budget, and you take that input and then go about setting up the budgets for your individual accounts. Another important thing that you need to do is that you also need to keep looking at the variance that is coming out from my actuals that is happening versus the actual budget that you are setting up. Another important thing that is there is on the anomalies aspect of it, wherein uh, the idea is to identify if there are any unexpected cloud spend so that we can quickly take actions to control them. So you have things like AWS cost anomaly detection. Once those anomalies are detected, uh, typically these when the anomalies are detected, right, it is sent to the application team who is responsible for it, because they know their application. It could be it could be a probably a planned activity. So for example, one of the customers that we are working, uh, we had a huge spike on a weekend, wherein the direct connect costs increased drastically than usually it was happening, right? Usually they were having like $3,000 or $4,000 per day, and that spiked to almost like 24,000. So uh, then we later on we sent out that particular notification to the individual application team, and then they told that, okay, they were doing some transfer of data back from AWS onto the on-prem. So again, right, it's also very important while we identify anomalies, we also need to ensure that these notifications are sent to the appropriate application teams, and then we also create an RCA, root cause analysis document. And then because they said that this activity will happen like every month end, and based on that, now next time onwards, right, if these type of outliers come, we sort of start ignoring those type of anomalies. And finally, the most important one, we spoke about all the centralized uh, data ingestion, the doing the chargebacks to the individual teams, getting some more real-time insights. Very important to have a centralized dashboard which gives us visibility around your cost, usage, measure the various KPI metrics, right? Publish the various optimization recommendations. If time permits, I will show a couple of dashboards that is available, which we can use. And these dashboards, typically the way this works is that you get your entire cost usage reports, your performance metrics into a central location, into your data lake. And from there, you push it to a Redshift or to an Athena, where you create your views, and then you have AWS QuickSight, which gives you the nice displays. Okay, now comes probably two important pillars that will give you probably the maximum benefits from a cost optimization standpoint of view, the cost savings, and the next slide is the cost avoidance. So the cost saving starts with something called the reserved instances, right? So it basically allows customers to commit to certain usage parameters for a duration of time, for a longer duration time, 1 or 3 years. So you basically tell AWS that, okay, I am going to purchase an EC2 instance and I'm committing to use that EC2 instance for a longer duration of time. So as soon as you do that type of a commitment, right, you get a price discount, right? And that price discount is almost close to like 70-75% with respect to what you would do as part of an on-demand. That is one aspect of it. The second thing is that how do I do my payment option? There are multiple options. One is like you do no upfront. So in this particular model, the RIs are billed on the discounted rate monthly. Then you have partial upfront, wherein you do some amount of some cost you pay upfront, and the remaining ones you pay on the monthly basis. And then you have all upfront, right? You make the full payment. Uh, with these three models as well, based on the model you select, you will get more benefits. So if you do obviously all upfront, you will get more cost benefits on that particular one. And the next one, another important one from a reserved instance standpoint of view, is that when you purchase a Amazon EC2 instance, right, you can basically choose between a standard or a convertible class. So the standard is about allows the customers to modify the availability zone, the network platform, the instance size, etc. While the convertible, in addition to what the standard provides, you can also change your actual instance family itself, right? So that is a huge advantage when you go for from a convertible standpoint of view. And AWS has launched a new offering, or not launched, I mean, it's been there for some time, is the savings plan. It's very similar to what reserved instances. It provides a discounted pricing model, but regardless of your instance family, size, your operating system, or your region. But more importantly, it is not just focused on an EC2 instance. It also, with the same compute, right, you can also apply it to a, let's say, like a Fargate or a Lambda function. So that way, now you are able to get the savings across just from the compute standpoint of it, not for a specific EC2 instance. So AWS recommends that to move from RIs to the savings plans. There are multiple saving plans. You have your compute saving plans, which is very similar to what the convertible RIs are, and you have your EC2 instance saving plans, which is very similar to your standard RIs. So then the question arises, obviously if you're a new customer and you're starting now, you do go for savings plan, but then RIs are also available for some services like your RDS or your Elastic Cache or your Redshift nodes. So this is a very important thing, but this is not the only thing, right? It's not that we just go and buy a reservation, right, and then go and apply it. It doesn't work that way. What you also need to do is that you need to do some amount of analysis or monitoring of the overall pattern of your workload, okay? And then you basically do the computation, or you do the calculation wherein you decide, let's say that I have I purchase a reservation, but there is a 25% wastage because reservations happens by the hour, okay? And if you don't use the reservation for a specific hour, that reservation is gone. You cannot, it's not like it will get it will move to under hour of the day. So let's say if it is at 11 a.m., 11 to 12, there is no usage. So whatever reservation benefits or the cost, you will lose that particular one. So many customers, or not many customers, it is recommended to actually perform a break-even analysis, take what will be my look at the overall utilization pattern, do the calculation, and come up with a break-even model, understanding when, if I purchase the reservation, I have a 70% discount on that cost, but how much wastage I can tolerate so that I will get my benefit. So I'm saying that, okay, I want to have a 30% benefit on the cost. So even if the discount is I'm getting 70%, so how much wastage I can afford to. So that type of an analysis also needs to be performed. It's just not about going and purchasing the savings plans. AWS has services like trusted advisors, right, which gives you all these type of recommendations. Okay, this particular instance is you go and do the reservation purchase. It will also recommend what do you call a number saying that, okay, this will be a potential saving, but it's also very important from our end to have that custom algorithm built to actually validate what if the wastages goes below a particular level. So that is from the overall the savings plan standpoint of view. The next one is around your the spot instances, right? Which basically uh, allows customer to use the spare EC2 computing capacity. So EC2, sorry, AWS will have some spare computing capacity, and the discounts are 90%. To the on-demand price, but the disadvantage, or I would say the catch here, is that uh, so there is a spot price that is published by AWS, and you bid an amount slightly more than that particular spot price. But if the spot price increases above your bid price, AWS will reclaim that particular EC2 instance. So in that particular scenario, obviously you cannot run your always running workloads on a spot instance, because it can get reclaimed by AWS at any point of time. So typically you want to run workloads which can which can resume running even after an interruption has happened. So things like your batch jobs or your background processing or your data analysis, which can get resumed even, let's say, the EC2 instance gets shut down or gets terminated. AWS gives you a 2-minute notice, so that once you have that particular notice, you can gracefully exit and then probably start. There is another new feature, that is instance rebalance recommendation, wherein EC2 instance emits a signal for a rebalance, wherein you still not the spot price has not increased your bid price, but it is on the verge or could cross your bid price. So in those scenarios, you can probably go and get a new spot instance and sort of don't have to wait for this type of 2 minutes interruptions, right? And there are multiple places where you can use in your EMR or your ECS or your from an EC2 standpoint of view. And finally, we come down to something called the cost avoidance, right? Which is about how do I have an uh, uh, how do I have an manage my underutilized resources? So the first one that is available is your right sizing, wherein basically it's a process to match your instance type and size to your performance and the capacity requirements at the least possible cost, right? So right sizing basically tells that, okay, you just ensure that you are running a particular workload based on what your utilization is. So if you have a, let's say, a large instance, probably you're having just 15% or 10% utilization or 20% utilizations, can you reduce that instance size or the instance family? So that is from the right sizing standpoint of view. You have multiple tools like Cost Explorer, right, which basically monitors the cost and usage of your EC2 instance for your last few months. So I think if I'm not wrong, it's like 13 months, and then gives you recommendations. Then you have your trusted advisor, which keeps giving you real-time insights and recommendation. And then you have your EC2 right sizing, which basically takes your 2 weeks of your Amazon EC2 utilization data and provides detailed right sizing recommendation. So that is another important one that we should leverage. The next one is on the elasticity aspect of it. So you basically are talking about, you basically match your number of resources based on the need, right? So I spoke about, we don't want to sit on an over provision or an under provisioned resources. So this is where the entire elasticity comes. We have two models. One is your time based model, wherein you go about shutting down resources when they are not required. Typically you utilize it for your non-prod environments, shutting down over the weekends, wherein those or the entire infrastructure is shut down, so that because anyways it's not being used. We have seen for customers whom we have implemented this, we have seen it almost like a 25% reduction in cost. And then you have your normal volume base, right, which basically matches your scale to the intensity of demand. So from a time-based one, right, you have things like your EC2 instance scheduler, right, which automatically starts and stop your EC2 instance in all AWS regions for an account. And then similarly, you have your EC2 Lambda function, right, which can also start and stop instances based on the CloudWatch alarms or events that are getting generated. And for volume-based one, you have your AWS auto scaling, which increases your EC2 instances based on the demand spikes, and then reduces the capacity as your traffic goes down. Again, this can be extended to your ECS, EMR clusters, and your app stream. And finally, you have your storage optimization, which is about how do I optimize or lower my costs, right, on the storage aspect of it without actually sacrificing any functionality aspect of it. So one is on your S3 lifecycle policy. So you can define rules wherein, or the life cycle, the entire life cycle, S3 life cycle can define rules on what duration the objects can be moved to the various tiers, and then finally put into, let's say, like a Amazon Glacier for archiving, so that reduces your cost. Then you also have your resizing your volume types, which basically is based on the type of your workload, what EBS volume you should sort of leverage. And then you have things like your stale snapshots, right? You can keep taking your uh, entire the EBS volumes snapshots you're taking in a regular basis, all right? For how long you want to keep those snapshots. So all of these can be taken care. You can create certain functions which does all this entire cleanup. So at a very broadly, right, these are some of the, at least I would say, when you want to do a cost optimization, right, across your firm, or for AWS, if we need to build these 5 pillars and then sort of implement it. I will do one thing. I'll quickly show a dashboard. Okay, so just 1 minute. So this is a cost summary dashboard. Okay, it basically gives me details around what is my overall usage spend, right? Which is my top spending account? Which AWS service is costing me most? Which region is costing most? Those type of things, right? And again, from a usage spend standpoint of view, right? On demand or reserved or your savings plan, right? How each of them are contributing my entire cost, right? Which type of service, what cost is happening, right? So it is very important to give these type of views. Similarly, on the you have your compute summary, right, which tells me what is my trend on my usage spend, right? So there seems to be an increase of 33% on my compute usage spend from in April to May, right? How much of my this entire spend, right, I have running on demand or savings plans. This also gives us an opportunity to sort of look at uh, where additional savings we can do. So we see that, okay, there is a almost like a 70%, 74% of my on demand, my workloads are running in on demand. So can I go and purchase new savings plan based on the utilization aspect of it, right? Or as I was talking about right sizing, right? AWS keeps releasing new EC2 instances, right? So can I? So currently everything is running on the current generation, but types. But then in case if sometimes they recommend new ones, can I go and do the purchase around that particular thing? Or from the storage standpoint of view, right? Again, gives you details about what is my S3 storage, right? Which type of storage class I am having, what is my EBS cost that is happening, right? All this gives us a good view about how my entire cloud spend is happening. Basically gives us, and then we can take some uh, uh, I would say more educated actions on it rather than just going by our gut feeling. Okay, this is more from the what is happening, what is my spend, how it is entire thing is working. You can also have recommendations, right? We spoke about cost optimization recommendations. So it gives me details around like, okay, what is my ideal RDS instance, right? What are my load balances? Do I have any unallocated elastic IP address or underutilized EBS volume, so that I can go and do some cleanup of all these type of activities. So it's very important while we go about setting up the foundation, right? It's also important for us to uh, 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 continuously keep evaluating our entire processes, get some insights, and then do the overall cost optimization. Yeah, so that's what I had. So I'm open for questions now.
There are few questions in the questions section, Sriram.
Okay, just 1 minute.
I will read it for you. It's from Mangesh Kulkarni. He's asking, now these FinOps tools and strategies are available once we are in the contract with provider, but how we can compare with other providers, say Azure, without getting into the contract?
Well, okay, means okay. So see again, the FinOps capabilities as such is independent. Okay, they give a guideline. So I think what we need to do, I think the concept will still remain the same, right? We spoke about uh, your foundation, governance, compliance, real-time instance, cost saving, cost awareness. Same thing is what you probably will do for an Azure provider. The only thing probably what you will do, but what will change is your individual features that you're trying to build, right? The services might differ, right? So if you're okay, so in the Azure side of it, right, it is more about cost management and billing, or cost their anomaly detectors and so on and so forth. Okay, so this three things probably you will be leveraging very specific a cloud provider specific service. Typically organizations, right, especially what they do is that as you said correctly, most customers have multiple cloud providers. What they typically do is that these type of foundation one, they try to keep it cloud agnostic. So they build their own centralized data lake. They have their own setting up of their organization structure through your Terraform and those type of things. So uh, I mean, if I understood the question correctly, what I'm trying to say is that the FinOps capabilities is cloud uh, agnostic. And what we need to do is that we need to figure out ways or the services to implement those capabilities. I hope I answered your question.
Thanks, Sriram. There is one more question from Mangesh. How we can include FinOps practice during architecting of applications? Not sure if it's valid ask, but if involve FinOps, will it help to optimize the cloud cost?
Absolutely, and any FinOps, so typically, right, organizations, right, and that is okay. Okay, so typically, right, organizations when they are setting up their overall cloud strategy, right, what they do also is to have a separate FinOps team, and that's where, right, what is recommended is to have a centralized FinOps team who will be giving, because see, setting up the account structure, right, or setting up the data lake might not be something what FinOps will do, but they will play a very important role in giving requirements to that the cloud COE or the cloud operations team who are going to build that. Similarly, the governance and compliance, probably it is the cyber security team is going to do that. So FinOps will has to play a very key role in setting up this. Uh, for one of the customers, what we I mean currently or not currently, what we have worked for, right? They are because the fact that the foundation is not there, the compliance is not there, they are really struggling to charge back their respective business unit. They don't know which resource, right? Which resource is they know which resource is costing them, but they are not able to tell, okay, whom should I go to, which business unit I go and charge back that. So to your point, it's very important that when they are designing their overall cloud strategy, FinOps also should be one of the key aspect to it. That is one, right? This is what I'm talking about. Now, designing a workload, right, from a well-architected framework standpoint of view, right? Again, that is again, you will always have to do the trade-off between your cost, quality, and speed, right? Your so again, that depends totally about the customer's business decision that they are taking about. So in that particular scenario, probably FinOps might not play a key role, because that is something what the business wants. So if you talk about like disaster recovery strategies, right? If I have my very less RTO and RPO, obviously my cost for setting up that entire infrastructure will be more. So in those scenarios, obviously, FinOps doesn't uh, uh, or will not play an active role. But for the all other aspects, right, for optimizing the entire uh, cost aspect of it, FinOps will play a key role. In addition to the fact that recommending them what type of services should be leveraged will give them maximum benefits.
There
Mangesh,
is one more question. Yes, there is one more question from Akhil. How can we set up this dashboard to analyze cost as you have set up?
so see again, right? These dashboards. I mean, again, quick to be talk. Okay, just I showed you just 1 minute. Okay. So first thing, yeah. So I think this might real-time insights, right? Just 1 minute. Yeah. So here, right, as I said, right, this particular architecture, right, the way this thing works, right, is that you have your cost usage reports, okay, so that you get from AWS, okay, you take that cost usage reports and push it into your own S3 bucket, okay, like this one, or what I'm talking about. And from there, you what you need to do is that you need to create your views of on Athena. Okay, and then there is a service called QuickSight on which you'll have to now start building your various views. When I say views, the display dashboards on based on each of their specific views. So think this way, that the cloud spend is coming from this particular thing. So this cost and usage reports will be pushed to an S3 bucket. So you can schedule it. Usually it happens, I think, once daily, right? It goes into an S3 bucket, and then you define a crawler, a glue crawler, which takes this data and then maps to the views or on Athena, and then this becomes like your database from where you start building your dashboards through QuickSight.
Thanks, Sriram. There is one more question from Sanket. He's asking, while comparing reserve instance versus AWS saving plan, do we need to consider any parameters such as region, geography, etc.?
So as I said, I think that's where, right? I think one important thing, what AWS will keep improving uh, uh, their services that they are launching, right? So if it is compute, right? If you are just focusing on compute, better to go for savings plan, because the same everything remains the same. Okay, I mean, I spoke to you about the convertible and the standard ones, and I told you the corresponding the compute saving plans and the EC2 savings plans, right? So the concept is same, everything remains the same, but again, AWS just has brought out a new savings plan. And the one of the key advantages there is that now, instead of just also enabling EC2 instance, you also have your Lambda functions and Fargate also. So let's say you have an account and you have multiple workloads running, right? You have some serverless Lambda functions also running, some ECS also running. So now you don't have to purchase different RIs, right? You just buy a savings plan and apply it on that particular account, and automatically it will apply onto the individual services. And wherever savings plans are not available, so like your RDS or your Elasticache, you should go for reserved instances. But a recommendation from AWS is to quickly move into savings plans, especially from a EC2 instance standpoint of view.
Thanks, Sriram. There is one more question from Sindhu. AWS CR that you just told, do we have to request AWS for it and pay?
No, you okay. So that's a very good question. You don't have to request the cloud usage report. It is available automatically in the Cost Explorer. But I mean, as with AWS, right? Every service you will have to pay, right? So the data now is going into my S3 bucket. So there'll be storage cost, right? I am leveraging Athena, so the cost will be there for Athena. Quick sites, I think there's a monthly cost uh, based on the number of users. But I mean, yeah, it there will be cost for it. You don't have to request AWS to enable anything. Everything is available. It's just about you utilizing that particular service, but the cost will be there.
Thanks, Sriram. I guess there are no more questions. I can't see any questions. So if there are no questions, we can conclude the session.
Yeah,
Yes, there are
thanks a
no
lot.
questions. Sure.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank you
sir.
very much.
It was really a great learning experience for us, and thank you all for attending the session. We would like to get your feedback on session to improve the experience. So I would request to share your feedback through the link shared in chat box. And have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.